To go.
I'm good when you are.
You ready, Jay?
I can't hear through them anyway, yeah, because we like shut it off. Yeah.
Right, I think we should be live now. Hello everyone, thanks for joining us again. It's me and Dave here once again. We got a lot of questions and comments about the Class 121 that we had behind us, which is now here. In the last video that we did on Wednesday about the Lord Nelson locomotive from Hornby. And a lot of people wanted to have a look at the 121, didn't they? So we've decided to take a look in further detail for you today.
Yeah, it was the two things we took away from the previous live stream. A lot of people really excited about the Lord Nelson, but so many people looking over my shoulder at the Class 121 there. So why not get more out? We're a fantastic model, something that really is worth an in-depth look at, and we've got a spread here to show you.
Well, it's something Dapol's been producing for a few years now, isn't it? And there's I think 16 total variations,
There's
is it?
16 been made altogether at the moment at a Class 121, and that's just as many as there were in real life. There were 16 units in real life produced in the 1960s too, so there's one model for every unit, and with the different liveries as well, there's some that have been made 2 or 3 times. Yeah,
and it's covering pretty much every single era of the class, from British Rail right up to their final day of operation in 2017 as well, isn't it? So
it is. So we took a closer look at the Class 121 in the model overview video, which is on our channel if you want to take a look after the live stream. But again, as we were with the Lord Nelson, we're here to answer any questions you've got regarding the Class 121. We've already had a couple of people ask us how to get inside and fit it with digital and digital sound. So as I did on Wednesday, I'll be doing that in a moment. I've got all my tools ready behind me to get going there.
You're going to get busy again, aren't you?
Yeah, I've had a practice run as well, so I can definitely do it. So that is pretty much it, really. They're a really nice model. I mean,
I love these things.
We seem to just be getting the very nice models out there at the moment, but it is another great modeler. And the nice thing this time as well is, okay, our first live stream was for the Steam guys, but this really is perfect for any diesel and electric modeler because, okay, they are a 1960s design. The first ones were introduced in 1960, but these ran on the main line until 2017.
Yeah.
So you had 57 years of use on these on the main line. So that covers pretty much everyone who's got a diesel and electric layout.
It's a huge scope for operation, isn't it, really?
Absolutely.
And the breadth of operation that these things saw, there's not many areas in the country that didn't see one of these at some point in their lives, was there?
That's exactly it. And there's so many different bright colour schemes and variations. We'll get into the sort of the in-depth as to why they're all that little bit different and they've all got their own characters. So who have we got with us so far, Jack?
Got quite a few people saying hello. Hello. We've got Transport UK, hi there. Jacka Spadas, I hope I'm saying that right. I'm very sorry if I'm not. Callum Calvert, again, hello Callum.
Hello Callum.
We've got Valleybrook 2 saying hello. And Jonathan Carroll as well, who's standing on the other side of the camera, so that's a nice little hello from our guy Jonathan over there.
Glad to have you all here, guys. Thanks for joining us.
So we got our first question here from Valleybrook 2. He says, as in typical Dapol manufacturing, is there a good weight to the model and extreme detail?
Oh yes,
there certainly
definitely is. I mean, I don't know quite how to get the weight across on camera. I could really struggle to pick one up and give it a bit of effect. But they do have a great weight to them. I mean, the good thing about these as well is with being a single car multiple unit, they mainly ran on their own, so they've only got themselves to shift. But if you wanted to, you could put a few coaches behind these and they're not going to struggle. They've got a fantastic weight to them. I reckon they weigh in at about 400, 450 grams, just from having a bit of a lift now. And the detail as well is something else on these. You can see it on the camera there, and again, have a check of the model overview video because we've got some really high close-ups on them. But there's full underframe detail there. I mean, what they call a first generation multiple unit from the 1960s will always have a lot of stuff going on under the chassis. You've got all your engines under there, you've got your brake gear, etc. It's all there plain to see. On a lot of modern trains, they hide that away under casing, but with these, it's
all there for you to see, isn't it? And the beauty of these is a lot of the time on quite a few of the models here, it's actually a lot of the equipment is picked out in different colours as well. So it really does just give it a bit of a, it just shows it off to a bit of an extra degree, doesn't it?
It does, and I mean, the detail doesn't stop there as well, because as soon as you look inside, again, it might not come up too well on camera, and I apologise, but there is a full passenger interior in there as well. So you've got all your seats picked out in the correct colours, And your driver's cabs on both hands have everything you need in there as well.
And it's nice and flush, isn't it? They've really managed to hide that motor away very well. Even though it's a reasonably powerful motor as well. So it's not like, it's not like they've got a weedy motor that they didn't have much to hide. It's actually quite a good piece of kit in there, isn't it?
They can shift themselves and a lot more besides as well, really. And as Jack said, the motor and the digital, etc., is hidden in the brake compartment here. We will be getting one open in a couple of minutes to show you exactly what's going on underneath the hood as well. But outside and in, they're a fantastic model, and as I touched on before, there's so many different colours. So if you guys have got diesel and electric layouts, if you've got a transition layout from the 1960s,
even something brand new,
there's one on the table for you at the end of the day. They go right through from that period to now, and so many different colours as well. So many different
It's pretty much a rainbow versions, isn't it? You've got your greens, blues, reds, browns, whatever you want. If you bothered more about colour than anything else, there's something there for you.
There really is.
But sorry.
How are we doing on the questions?
We've got a few more in. So Scrapline says hello there.
Hello.
Lakota Thirauth. Sorry if I'm not saying that right again. My pronunciations aren't amazing. They say, unrelated to this model, will Hattons make O-gauge coaches for the Helgen O-gauge A3s and A4s? We are actually producing O-gauge LNER teak coaches, which will go along with the A3s and A4s, and they'll be produced in a variety of different liveries. So there'll be obviously the teak version, carmine and cream, and it's maroon, isn't it? For the third one.
Yeah.
They're $249 each. And they will be available not long after the locomotives come into stock. So there's something there for you.
Yep, absolutely.
Right, we've got European Train Driver says hello.
Hello.
We've got Anita Jones says hello, Jack and Dave. Hello. Valleybrook 2 again says he loves the rail track blue and green, and it fits so well with the rail track MPV as well. Yeah,
there we are, as if on cue. And these, this is the one I really like. This is one of our exclusive models, by the way, so this is only available through Hattons. So if you do like the look of this, pop on our website after the live stream and have a look there and pick one up. But this one stands out to me just because of the level of printing on it. This was one of the...
So much there.
It's actually the Omni Surveyor car, so this went around and did a lot of track surveillance in the early 2000s.
Right.
And what you can see, again, check out some of the higher detail pictures on our website. There's so much separate printing there, warning flashes, calibration
It's all this stuff on the cab ends for me. It's all these little tiny things that,
that's it.
Makes a big difference on a model.
And some of the plated over windows as well, where the equipment was stored in real life, with the logos on them as well, straight onto the glazing. And how many trains do you get? Or how many multiple units do you get where there's a bright green colour on it? You don't get them. You really don't get them.
And we've got two on the table with that very colour on it. You've got the Silverlink one over there in that colour with the little band at the bottom.
Actually, I didn't think about that.
It is a lot of unusual schemes for this class, which kind of goes with it being a bit of an unusual looker anyway. Even a standard colour scheme like BR Blue or BR Green, it's an unusual looking thing, but it kind of complements it having a bit of a slightly garish or a bit of an over-the-top colour scheme, doesn't it? It just kind of complements it, looking a bit quirky.
The thing to bear in mind is these always had quirky lives as well.
Yeah, they did.
Because straight away in the 1960s, they replaced a lot of steam trains. So whereas you'd have a loco and a couple of coaches, and every time you went to the end of the line, you'd have to move your loco to the other end of the train. It takes a bit of time. It's a bit of a faff. Really want to speed up that operation. You put one of these into service. If you want to change the direction you're going, your driver moves from there to there, and he's got a corridor straight through as well, so he doesn't even have to go outside if it's raining or snowing, etc. So the ultimate in luxury.
Much more pleasant experience for the driver there, wasn't it?
And it revolutionised a lot of services like that. So they went to a lot of places near London, a lot of the smaller branch lines coming out into the London suburbs. They went down to the southwest, the Welsh branches, etc.
Well, these guys were almost kind of billed as a saviour of the rural branch line, weren't they?
Yes,
because
yeah.
It did help a lot of these lesser used rural lines to stay in operation, where a full train wouldn't have been commercially viable because these were a lot cheaper to run.
That actually was kind of one of the downfalls of them, really, because they were so successful, more people started using the lines that they went on, so they had to put bigger trains into service with multiple cars. So the Class 121s were left high and dry, really. There weren't enough seats in them to take the passengers. I mean, they could take 65 people in there, but once you start getting a busy branch line, once you start building that service up, it gets quite...
Because I've seen times
tricky.
where they did tend to double up, didn't they, where they'd put two together, but when you've only got a class of 16 and there was so many other types of 2 and 3 car first generation multiple units out there, what's the point of doubling one up?
That's exactly it.
I guess that's why they all, in the later years, they moved into these rail track and other infrastructure duties and stuff like that.
Great to move people around, great for track testing, great for what they call sandite duties as well, which is where they spread the adhesive mixture onto the track to help the trains grip during when the leaves coming down onto the lines as well. So they got many different uses. So
I mean, that really shows you how they managed to be 57 years in operation, longest serving DMU. So they proved their worth, I think.
I think we should get one open up.
Go for it.
Okay.
I shall man the chat while you get prepared,
Let's
Dave.
see who we've got saying hello while I get my tools ready.
Right. So Callum Calvert asks, would a 121 or a 122 ever run with anything behind it?
Very occasionally.
Very occasionally, it could happen. It's something, if you wanted to recreate on your layout, you're more than welcome to do that. You can double them up, so you could have a 121 and another 121 forming a service. They did sometimes couple a 121 up to the back of another type of multiple unit, so like of potentially your 101s, your 108, stuff like that. They couple them up together to form a 3-car unit or a 4-car unit just to add a bit of extra capacity there, so you could do something like that. Beauty of the Dapol model is it does have NEM couplings on both ends, so even if you wanted to do something non-prototypical, like put some coaches behind it or even put some wagons behind it, go for it, because you can.
And as we touched on before as well, there's a heavy chassis on there and a great motor, so if you do want to put quite a few different vehicles behind it, hey, it's your layout.
Rule 1 applies in that case, doesn't it?
It'll do the trick. So, right, now, this one will be a little different. Anyone who's getting one fitting ready to go now and got the tools ready, put the screwdriver down. We don't quite need it at this moment. What we need is a few little pieces of plastic. Now, if you've got a bit of plastic card around, or if you've got a loyalty card that you don't need anymore, get those scissors out, because these are the magic tool that you need to get inside one of these Class 121s. Now,
even a little card like this would be okay, wouldn't it?
That'd be absolutely fine, as long as you don't need it again, because you're better off chopping it up into a couple of little bits. That's all I'd say.
I won't go chop my debit card up right now.
Absolutely, no, we can't. We won't have any responsibility for cards you cut up during this. So, get about 3 or 4, and what you need to do is, I will show you, and then I will get it done, is just between the body and the chassis, you're able to actually ping the body open a little bit so it comes away very slightly. What you do then is you slide the plastic card in, and you'll feel where it's just got a little clip holding the body to the chassis. As soon as you get that, twist your plastic a little bit and pull that away, and then you'll feel that there's a couple of other points. There's 2 on each side. Usually they are just at the ends of the bogies there. So you'll stick those bits of plastic in, and as soon as you've done that, you can lift the chassis away and leave the body as you have it there. So I will get started on that.
You get cracking.
And we'll see what people are thinking.
Right, so Valleybrook says, the one I want, you've not got there. Which one is it that you're after? And we can talk a little bit about it if you want. Or if you head to our website, you can see every different variation we've got in stock. And we do have all 16 available at the moment, so you can check them all out on the website. There is an article on the homepage if you go to hattons.co.uk, or if you click the link in the description, you can check them all out there as well. Lakota Thirauf says you should do more model reviews and whatnot like this. Yeah, if you want us to do more, we gladly will. Me and Dave are really enjoying doing these so far, aren't we? So
absolutely.
We obviously a couple of days ago, if you managed to check in on Wednesday, we did a live stream like this for the Hornby Lord Nelson Steam Loco. So if you go back on our YouTube channel, you can check that out as well if you like, if you missed it. Obviously, we produce our model overview videos very frequently as well for all the new stuff that's coming out and updates and things like that. But we're always open for more ideas, and we're really enjoying doing this sort of stuff. So yeah, any ideas, feel free to leave them in the chat and we will take a look. The South Coast Train Spotter says, what do you prefer, Class 68 or 121s?
Ooh, that's a tough choice. There's a lot of difference, and they're made for different jobs, really. So
couldn't really pick, because I like both. I'm a big 121 fan and I'm a 68 fan. I've got both models as well. So.
I like the 68s. They're very, very sort of traditional but modern locos. But these as well, with all that history in them, I like them both for different reasons.
They've both got selling points, haven't they? Like you say, the 68 is sort of like harking back to the glory days of loco hauled services, and it's kind of bringing that back with the Mark Vs now.
Yes.
And it's a really important, locomotive that's out there on the main line at the moment. But the 121s have got a nice little place in my heart as well. They're just such an important loco. I love first gen loco, multiple unit, and I love first gen stuff. So this,
I think that's the trickiest question we've had on one of these live streams.
I can't answer that one.
What's your favourite out of 2 favourites? So I've got that ready to take out now. So you can see there I've got 5 different pieces of plastic card just inserted in. And as said, you'll hear them click and you'll feel them click when you put it in yourself as well. If you're wanting to do this yourself, do let us know. Either play back the live stream after we've finished. There are instructions included with the box as well. Or if you're not quite getting it, give us a call or drop in an email to our team here, or even send us a Facebook message and we can help talk you through it as well if you want to get inside one of these. But they're a pretty easy fit to do, so I'll just get that open now and pull the chassis away. And just watch for all the plastic pieces.
The bits and pieces falling all over the place.
Making a mess of the table there, I apologise. And there you have it. So you can now see that interior there as well. You can now see the painted seats and the painted floor, as well as some of the vestibule detail. This is a great time to point out one of the other features as well, which is actually your inside lighting as well. The full passenger saloon is lit and you can just see where the connectors are there. And the eagle-eyed amongst you will have noticed I didn't unclip anything when I was taking that away either. No clips with the lighting, don't worry about that. It's all on the brass connections there.
Oh, wow.
So as soon as you put the body back on, your lights will work again. You don't have to worry with any fiddly wires, anything like that at all.
It's a very thoughtful bit of design, that, isn't it? It's just really making it easy for people to get inside the locos.
Some of the trickiest parts of doing a digital fitting are that process really of unclipping all the little wires, etc.
Yeah.
So with this, as I said, I didn't even need a screwdriver. I just needed a couple of bits of plastic card that were lying around on my table, and, and that's where we took it from. So now all you need to do then is one last little thing for DCC, and it's clearly labelled on the chassis there, which
Can't
is
miss that, can
the
you?
cover of the DCC, which hides it inside the guards department. That just pulls away. There you have it. You've got your blanking plate there. All you need to do if you're going digital is pull that out, put in your preferred decoder, and away you go. Put the body back on, and that's it essentially. Now, with the Class 121, you do need a 5-function or above decoder, but we do have them on our listings as well, and they're recommended on the product pages. So if you're not sure which decoder to go for, pop on the page and it is listed on there. But do ask us if you need a bit of advice.
Well, these have a lot of great functions on digital, don't they? Because obviously you mentioned the cab light, the interior lighting there, and there is independently controllable cab and passenger lights, aren't there? So you can get a really good mixture of operation there. If you wanted to run it in, on a move back to the depot, you can have the cab lights on or off for that, and have the passenger lights off too.
You can even do it down to the destination lights.
Yeah,
as well.
Really?
Wow. Them. And the good thing about this is as well, a little bit more intelligent design. A lot of analog modelers probably thinking, well, I'm not digital, I want all that light operation. Why did the digital guys get it? You get it as well. All you need to do is exactly what I've just done in taking the body off. And I apologise because these really won't turn up well on the camera at all. But on the little grey parts there are 2 switches, and they are slid between 3 different points. That controls whether you have your cab lights operational and your interior lights operational as well. So it's not quite as controllable on analog as it is on digital, but if you're looking for a long-term fix or even a medium-term fix, just take the body off. As you saw before, it's a 2-minute job. Change that switch over, put the body back on, job done.
It's not too much of a bit of work, is it? So.
It's not at all, and to see that feature included for the analog modelers as well is really great to see it catered for, the options still there.
Yeah, like we say, it's just thoughtful bits of design in this model, isn't it?
That's exactly it.
Okay, let's check it on the chat and see what people are saying.
Yes.
So, Nick from Red Shed says he's got the load haul livery. Oh, that must be the 122, isn't it?
That's the 122, that one, yeah.
And it looks good along with 37s and 60s in his yard. I'm sure it does, yeah.
If you got some pictures of that, send them us through.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. Valley Brook is on again. He says, hello, Dave. Is that a Freightliner 66 over your shoulder? Hashtag Stuart's favourite loco.
There's a lot of people looking over my shoulders in these videos.
We'll have to be very careful what we put in the background.
That's it. And this is the coloured sample of one of our exclusive Class 66s. So these are due in August, and we've got them coming through. And as soon as we've got more to show you on those, we'll be doing a lot of videos on them, putting things on our social media channels as well. So keep an eye on Facebook, keep an eye on our YouTube channels. If you want more on the 66, we will be bringing it to you soon.
Good spot, Stuart, anyway. Ono Mulder says, these are awesome DMUs. What are the specifications? I'll just go and do a little bit of a list then, I suppose.
Yeah, absolutely.
So obviously Dave's mentioned the digital capability there. So you've got digital and sound capability in these models, and it's a 21-pin chip that you need for it. Like Dave said, preferably a 5-function or above. They've got sprung buffers, as you'd expect on a model of this sort of caliber. You've got full NEM couplings on both ends. You've got separately fitted handrails on the edges of the cabs and around there. You've got masses of underframe detail, which we've touched on a little bit already. And Dapol has tooled up for different variations on this model as well, which we have spoken a little bit about. So, for example, on this rail track one, you've got accurate areas where the windows have been plated over, like Dave said, for putting equipment in and things like that. You've also got lights, extra lights on the front there that have been fitted above the centre cab window. And there's a few other bits and bobs on these, isn't there? So there's like different types of exhaust ports, and ones where the protruding exhausts aren't even present at all, like on the modern Chiltern example. So they really did cater for everything with this one, didn't they?
They do, and you think with only 16 members of the class, there wouldn't actually be that many little changes. But even down to what they call the NRN radio pods there, that's for sort of internal communication used by British Rail from the 1990s onwards. So they're present on some of the models, whereas they're not present on others. As Jack touched on before, you've got the differing windows on the rail track, but you've also got the dual windows in the brake compartment compared to single on most of the models. If I spin that round for you, you've not only got your high intensity headlight and the yellow at the bottom, but you've also got the 2 spotlights above that as well. So there's quite a bit of variation
so much
there,
on
even
these.
down to, and this is one of my favourite little bits of attention to detail, this particular model in the midline livery was actually a crash victim in real life, so this end had a bit of a smash. Now, it was rebuilt with a different end with a smaller head code box, so this is unique. This is only this actual unit that got that. So you've got the standard size one there and the little one at that end. And
so it looks like a 122 from one end and a 121 from the other.
Yeah, so if there's people who can't decide which way to go, maybe have a bit of both.
Have a bit of
quite
both.
Literally, but just that attention to detail there.
It's nice, isn't it? Because he didn't really have to do that. They could have chosen a member of the class that hadn't had that happen. But
that's it.
You've got the full range there.
They've gone down to that level of detail, which is really nice to see.
One thing that is really notable about these, which you're not really going to be able to see on camera, I'm afraid, but it might be something that you can pick up from photos on the website or from our model overview, is just the cab detail on this. There's so much to see in there. You've got the handbrake wheel, all the different gauges and just switchgear and all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
It's mad how much stuff is in there. It's something that really, whenever I see one of these, I look straight at the cab and go, wow.
I imagine, though, that some of our viewers are probably not satisfied with that and they're saying, what about more detail? What about more? Always wanting more, you see, that's what it is. Now, if you want more, you've also got a detailing bag in there as well, and that includes all your buffer beam pipe work for it. So your vacuum brake pipes, your control pipes, etc. in there. All you need to do is get a little bit of glue. The holes are there on the buffer beams for them. So if you are running this unit on its own and you don't really need the couplings, make sure to pop the detailing bits in, because it does just.
It really adds an extra dimension adding that on, doesn't
does.
it? And if you just got a pair of, like you say, pair of tweezers, bit of glue, it's not too bad to fit all that stuff on. So, and it really does change the look of the logo.
It really does. It really does.
Right. SLD51 asks, do these have all-wheel pickups?
They do.
They do.
Every single wheel.
And it's all-wheel drive as well, isn't it?
It is all-wheel drive.
Yeah, so it's great performance. So, when it's going over point work or if there's any dodgy bits of track on your layout, I'm sure it'll perform very well indeed. Stuart from Valleybrook asks again, is the rail track blue and green, does that have interior lighting? That's a good question, because obviously with the plated over section, you'd wonder how much lighting that would have.
Yeah, every single Class 121 you see here does come with the lighting pre-fitted, as we saw inside the Silverlink model there. So the great thing about the rail track model as well is because the windows are blanked, that light doesn't show through. So it is still working in there. They've not disconnected it, but you can't see it, so it does look like it should with the light not working in there as well.
Fair enough. Gary Lewis asks, what's your next video going to be?
Ooh.
Well, what do you want it to be?
Yeah.
Feel free to leave any suggestions below and we can definitely consider it. Got a few plans for what we want to have a look at next, haven't we? But yeah, if there's anything you particularly want to see, let us know. And we're
always open to suggestions on that one. So,
Gary Lewis, again, says, really looking forward to the 66s as well. Could easily be the model of the year with a spec from what I've seen so far. Thanks very much. Yeah, we're excited to get those out now. And there's plenty more information to come on those before the release in August. Gareth Waite says, just a quick question. Do you sell the cap and the water bottle? Everyone's spotting the stuff in the back today. Do you sell the cap and the water bottle in the background? And if so, how much? Unfortunately, we don't actually sell those at the moment. But, you know, we might be something we look at in the future if there's enough demand for it.
Yeah, we do sell the mugs.
We do sell mugs, yeah.
We do sell the mugs at the moment. I think they're $5.99 and available. So if you want a mug for now, if you do need something to put your drink in right this moment, we do have mugs available. But if you wanted something a little colder, we can certainly have a think about the water bottle side of it.
The full Hattons suite of souvenirs will be coming soon. Callum asks, what glue would you use for applying the extra details? That's a good question.
As long as you get a little sort of fine plastic glue or a plastic weld or something along those lines, you'll be absolutely fine. Again, we have all that stuff available on our website, so if you pop on our search and you search for glue, you'll be able to find different glues there. If you're after a certain one, I want to know which is better or worse, drop us in a Facebook message, give us a call, pop into the store or ring one of our team as well.
Our team's always there, happy to help, and we've got experts on hand to guide you through anything you need like that. So
yeah,
it's
and
never a problem.
7 days a week as well. So, right, one thing I thought as well is we need to go deeper on this one.
All right,
we've got this far, and there's a couple of little screws there, and I've got my screwdriver, and I'm aching to use it.
Where's it going now?
So I think we've got to go deeper, and the reason we've got to go deeper is for the digital sound fitting. So far, we've got it great for the guys who just want the digital and the guys who want to fit passengers as well. One thing I didn't mention there, actually, is the great to fit passengers into, and they look brilliant once
there's loads of space there for fitting them in.
So
it's quite an easy one.
Just adds that last little bit. But for sound fitting, you've got to go a little bit further and take the passenger compartment away. So all you do for that is you'll be able to see 4 screws, 2 there and 2 there. And all you do is they come off and you lift the passenger compartment away. So again, if I can have a minute, I will just do that, and then I shall
return to the chat. Marius Musig says, hi, what's your favourite livery?
Oh, out of these.
That's tricky again. It's like the 68 question all over again. I don't know what I'm going to say.
I think I'm going to be decisive here, Jack.
I'm
going to go with the Great Western livery.
All right.
Because that is a special one-off. And that was done in 1985 for the anniversary of the Great Western Railway. That was 150 years of the Great Western.
Right.
From 1835 to 1985. And they did a lot of special things with a lot of special trains. And of course, the Class 121 is so special, it had to be involved at the end of the day.
It had to be part of that.
So they painted one up in the old style chocolate and cream livery. So that really stands out for me because, again, if you're a modeller who's quite not into the diesel age quite yet, if your prototypes earlier, you're looking at the Big Four era of the 1930s and 1940s, and you really like Great Western liveries, it brings that sort of classic livery back into action as well, and just harks back, and it does add a bit of class to it, I think.
It does. It's got a real nice look to it. And the thing is about these, they did run on a lot of old GWR sort of haunt lines, didn't they? So
that's it.
It was quite appropriate for it to wear that livery.
You could see them around Wales, you could see them heading into Reading and Oxford and places like that as well. So they're almost an honorary member of the GWR fleet.
Pretty much, yeah.
Really, so a special delivery.
So I think we know what Dave's favourite is anyway. I think I might go the opposite end, although it's still sort of GWR territory. I'd go for the Arriva Trains Wales livery. Now, this is
quite bright.
Quite bright, up to date. Well, sort of. It's a very colourful livery. So this ran from 2006 to about 2012 in this livery.
Yes.
And it pretty much only ran on the Cardiff Bay shuttle, didn't it? From Cardiff main station in Cardiff, right down to the bay station.
Yeah.
Just a little shuttle back and forth all day, hooking up the main station to a little branch.
But that's what those units were.
That's exactly, it was
job.
at home doing its proper job. But I just love that it was in this brand new Arriva livery, alongside all our other units, like modern stuff like the 153s and the 150s and stuff like that, and you still got this plucky little 121 hanging around all the way till 2012 with Arriva. Yes. I just think that's fantastic, and I think it really suits it, this livery.
It does.
It just seems right. I think Arriva's the little swoosh with the cream on the ends and the picking out the doors in the turquoise colour, it just seems to work for me.
It's exactly the opposite to what I just said, I feel. In that the chocolate and cream really makes it seem like a classic livery, but it complements that. But Arriva puts it straight in the 21st century.
Brings it right up to date, doesn't it?
It's amazing that even with 57 years in them, it looks like they could go even further either way. It looks like they might have started earlier and finished later.
It's kind of the same with the Chiltern livery, isn't it? It looks right. They just suit the logo, and it makes it look modern. But you'd be hard pressed to know that's a 57-year-old piece of kit, wouldn't you?
Right.
So that was a good question.
I may need a glamorous assistant here to do this. So if you can remove the passenger compartment.
Ta-da!
And there we are. So, practice that one, I think, there, Jack, with the
Did that a few times, didn't we?
So now you have access to a little bit more. You can see the motor in the middle there, so you can see the size of that motor now as well. The size of the motor compared to the size of the actual unit as well. You can get a real idea of how powerful this is. It's a pretty hefty motor with dual flywheels on there.
And again, it's really impressive that they've managed to keep this so flush with a motor like that in there.
It is. It is. Now you can see we're going straight past our digital blanking plate there, and we have got space for the DCZ sound speaker there. So your speaker drops straight into there. Wire that in as part of your decoder. You might need to do a little bit of soldering if your speaker's not pre-soldered. But again, if you're not feeling too confident about this, we can do it for you as well. So we can fit these up with sound, and the sound we've got for them is pretty great as well. The iconic sort of first generation multiple unit sound. With
it's unmistakable, isn't it?
The buzz, etc. of the driver's guard system on there. So that's a really good sounding bit of kit, and you'll see that the actual speaker has a full enclosure as well for it to go into. So again, it just makes that sound even better, and it plays down through the bogies, so it's got good room to escape. So the only bit of news is that's as far as we're going. There's not another level to go to, I'm afraid. You're
not going to be stripping that down any further, are you?
We've now got it into 3. We've got our passenger compartment, we've got our body, and we've got our chassis unit as well. So that is as far as we go on getting down into this one. But we've got pretty comprehensive there, I like to feel.
There's not much more you really need, is there?
There isn't, to be quite honest, no.
Getting down to that level, as you say, you can do the DCC sound fitting if you want to service your motor, or if you many years in the future, if you might need to swap it out for another one, it's very easy to do.
That's it. I can't see that being
I don't think that's ever going to need to happen.
But if you need to do it, it is there to do. So that is as far as you go on the opening up of the 121. And if anyone would like a second look or a closer look, do let us know, and I'll be happy to oblige.
Right. So Calvert asks, he's got another question.
Okay.
He's asking, when are Helgen's Garrett re-release due?
We've not had an exact date for those coming through at the moment. We have had the colour layouts for them, so they've shown us what liveries they intend to make. And we heard that it was going to be later in 2019, but as for an exact month, we haven't had any details. Yet. As soon as we do, we'll update our listings, so keep an eye on the page on the website. And if you want to, sign up for an alert as well, because as soon as we get that information, we'll drop you an email to let you know.
There you go. Stuart from Valleybrook asks, would you ever invite guests on to the show to get modelers' view on these new releases and products? Never say never. It might be something we do in the future.
It's not something to bear in mind. I mean, I did a live stream at the start of the year, some of you remember, with Sam's Trains.
Yeah.
When we had the new Hornby announcements and the new Backman announcements.
Well, we do quite a few bits and bobs with Sam and with other YouTubers over the course of the year, and it might be something we look at in the future for live streams as well. So
we certainly do. And I mean, if you do want to be part of the Hattons experience in person as well, we do attend a lot of model railway exhibitions. The next one coming up we've got is the Gauge O Guild at Telford at the start of September. So that will mainly be our O Gauge new releases.
Yeah, and then we're also attending the Great Electric Train Show in Milton Keynes as well. And obviously we'll be at Worley later in the year too. So come and see us if you can. So
if you want a Hattons live experience, so to speak, that is the best place to come. But certainly we'll take it on board.
See the real people behind Hattons.
Speaking of Hattons exclusives as well, a lot of the 121s you see here are only available exclusively from Hattons. The best way to check which ones are and which ones aren't is at the end of the product code you'll see the word hat. If they've got the word hat, you can only get them from us.
Easy way to know.
That's it.
SLD51 said, oh wow, you've got GWR Class 800s and Virgin 91s in stock. Where did you get them? We've just got some extra stock of some Hornby and other bits and bobs, haven't we? So
we've some bits available again, so take a look through what we have there. And as you said, there's a few interesting bits, such as the 800s and the Class 91s. So take a look through our new items page and see if there's something there for you.
Yeah, like Dave says, head to new stock, and that's all there for you to see. Gareth Waite says, I have one when I met you at the London show. Cheers. I'm the fellow that came up from Portsmouth. When is your next lot of pre-grouping if you're thinking wagons and coaches? Cheers.
The best thing to do there is, if you have a certain idea for a certain type, is to send it to ideas@hattons.co.uk. That's our email address that goes straight to our product development team. So any ideas you have there will go straight to them, and we'll take it on board. If there's a lot of people asking for the same thing,
it really helps us gauge the reaction to what people want, and it all feeds into the data of seeing if we are going to produce another model, like what we'll do next. So do send us an email, because it really does help. Right, so we've got Marius Musig says, thanks for saying my name right in German, because some people say it wrong.
There we go.
So you're welcome. I'm glad I got that right. Marius also asks, what do you prefer, the Flying Scotsman, Mallard, or Duchess of Hamilton? Again, that's a tricky one, because it's three big classic express steams there. So what?
With me being from the northwest, I think I've got to go LMS on that one and go for the.
I think I might have to as well. You know.
I think that's an easy one, I'm afraid.
Us Northwesterners, that's where it's going to be, isn't it?
Fantastic models. And speaking of a fantastic model, I mean, something different on this has kept me interested for the last couple of minutes. I'm sure you've all watched me poring over this for a moment. And it looks like the standard BR Blue Grey. Just normal livery carried by all the class, but you spin it round to the front, and it's actually got something a little different on there. It's got the Highland Rail Stag. So this is one of the depot emblems that got carried by a lot of diesel locomotives. But these never actually made it to Scotland.
No.
They never got that far up. Some of the 122s did. But actually, these never quite made it to Inverness. So it must just be someone who had a spare couple of stickers lying around, who fancied a bit of a laugh, pretending that one of these southern-based units really got that far north. But
it's a bit of an oddity, though, isn't it? And it is. And, if you fancy not being 100% prototypical, or if you wanted to, on your layout, perhaps one of the 121s did end up being shipped up to Scotland for use on one of their branch lines, there's an excuse to, because you've got one with the Highland Rail Stag on it, and it's a bit of a cult look, the stag emblem, isn't it? So there's a lot of people out there who love that style.
It's one of the main depot emblems out there. And I mean, the great thing is as well for any modeler is you can run these as they are. You need that much length to put one on your layout at the end of the day. So
just touching on that Highland Stag, though, there is another one with a bit of an interesting emblem too. Yeah. Which is the Welsh Dragon emblem. Now, that one did actually see quite a bit more use. That did get used quite widely across Welsh branch lines for a number of years. That's just another bit of an interesting one. It's got a little red arrow on the front and the Welsh Dragon on there, so any Welsh fans
of ours
can get one.
The guys who maintained and drive these in real life were just as passionate about them as we are, because they took the time to personalise them and customise them in that way. And as saying before, really, it's impossible not to fit one of these on any layout. With them just being a single car unit, you only need a couple of feet really to get them into space. They're perfect even if you're thinking of making a diorama or a small station scene. Some of the stations they operated to on those Welsh branch lines were only as long as the trains themselves. So you can really fit a lot into a small space with something such as this.
Well, we've seen quite a few people who sent up pictures of, like, literally almost cake box style layouts, but a little bit bigger, of just a 1-2-1 in the scene, and it really does have great impact.
And even if you've not got a station on your layout, even if you're a depot layout modeler or something along those lines, you can look at something like one of the more departmental units that wouldn't be used for carrying passengers as well. So even if you're not into passenger modelling, there's a 1-2-1 for you.
It's like we said, isn't it? There really is something for everyone in this unit.
We haven't got many things that we stock like this, many trains and multiple units, that just have that sheer amount of variety, whether you model passenger or freight, what area you model, what colour you like as well, really, and it's even down to that level. There really is something there. We can recommend something for every single one of you.
JYS Train says, you guys have too many toys to play with at work. It's not fair. Yeah, we do. Sorry.
There's not much more to say to that, yeah.
Gary Lewis says, a little rolling road feature of the item showing will be good to see, and that way we could show off the lighting and sound features. Yeah,
that would be a good call. I mean,
that's a good idea.
Do have a look at our model overview video as well, which is available on our channel, because we do show a lot of running on there as well, and the lighting features. So after the live stream, we do have those available, but certainly doing it as part of the live stream as well is something to take on board. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks for the suggestion. It's something we could definitely look at for the future. Callum is back again, and he says, it was brilliant to meet Jack at Crew. It was nice to meet you too, and I hope you found somewhere good for your Virgin nameplate on your mantelpiece or something. Marius says, what can you recommend? BR Standard 9F, Evening Star, Hornby Railroad, or Hornby Stania Black 5, or a GWR Castle?
We have models of all available at the moment.
We do,
really, so you can go whichever way you want there. Have a look on our listings.
Hornby's sort of made, if you want a big steam locomotive, Hornby's the one to go to. That's their bread and butter. And they do offer a huge range at the moment, and there's more coming in the future, so check them out. There's loads out there. Callum asks, is the one that is based at Crew Diesel Depot the BR Green one?
Now, it is and it isn't, because it is the same livery. Now, the one that's based at Crew Diesel Depot is owned by Locomotive Services, who did the open day that Jack was met at previously. And that is actually one of the last two to operate with Chiltern Railways. So they had two. They had
the blue one over here,
number 121020, which is in the blue, but they also did have a green one which was in use until not the end of 2017, until May 2017, and that then was sold to Locomotive Services. So it's not a model of that exact unit, but with a little bit of customization, you can make it into that particular model.
That's kind of the beauty with this. They are a bit of an easy customization option, especially with some of them having quite, even if you wanted to go really far with it and come up with your own livery for it, or produce something that's not been done yet. Some of them are in such a base coat, almost like the Chiltern Blue or the BR Green. It's very easy to customise.
Absolutely, and you've seen how easily the bodies come apart as well. So if you are thinking of getting a bit adventurous and doing some painting on them, they're a great one to start off with there. But again, if you're not, there's so many colours to choose from. I mean, we couldn't fit them all on the table, to be quite honest with you. You'd only see the trains and not us, which I imagine a lot of people would prefer, really. So but there's so many to choose from. There's 16 available in total at the moment. So do pop onto our listings and have a look there. We have got a link in the description as well. So check that out, and we've got the whole lot available there. And the most important part as well is they start at a pretty good price. They're £89.
Yeah, just £89 they start from, for a few of the different options on the table, and you're getting a lot of bang for your buck for that price. Like Dave said, it's essentially an entire train in one unit for your layout. You whack it on and off it goes. That's a full train. You don't need to get anything else to go over it. You don't need any more coaches. You don't need any more wagons, unless you want to. But it's so easy to just pick one of these up for quite a cheap price and get it going on your layout, and it really does have a big impact with, like we said, some of these really colourful and exciting liveries.
Yeah. And the thing is as well, is it works straight out of the box for the analog modeler. And if you're a digital modeler, we saw before how easy it was for me to take the body off, not even needing a screwdriver. So it's a real sort of plug and play multiple unit. You can get it out of the parcel and have it on your layout running before the kettle's boiled, really.
Pretty much, yeah.
Just again, I know I keep saying it, but it is a real point to sort of say, is just so much variety. You don't get this variety with many things that are out there. You know, okay, you had a lot of different logos and a lot of different colours, but with this, as Jack touched on, it's a whole train. This is all you need to get operating. You don't need a couple of wagons to put behind your locomotive. You don't need coaches to build up a rake. That's it. That's all you need.
It's all you need. And like we've touched on, there's 16 different liveries you can choose from. So if there's practically any option you could ask for, it's here. And you never know, there is still variations that haven't been done yet of this logo and different liveries. So there might be even more to come in the future. So there is a lot of life in these things.
It's been a pretty popular model, and it came out right at the end of 2017. So there's been a couple of different releases come through, including our own limited editions. But they've always been popular since they came in. They've always been well regarded as a high quality model, really. And the real things have a cult following as well. So they're always going to remain popular. So we're pretty likely to see more in the future.
Yeah, it's a good point you've mentioned there, because they are very popular on preservation lines now as well.
Yes.
Obviously, the reason why they're good for model railways is also why they're good for heritage railways. The fact that you can have one, pop it on and off it goes, it plays true for heritage railways too. All they need to do is get hold of one of these. It's a single unit. It's not that much to maintain as compared to some other trains, and they can have passenger services on their real railways as well. So that's why they've been quite popular in preservation.
Good point about the low maintenance as well, because as we said before, with the really nice level of underframe detail on here, that matches the point in real life that it's all just there to touch, really. You don't need to take any casing off, you don't need to get to anything at all. It's just there.
It's all there for you.
It's just there.
Yeah.
And again, this model just captures the real ones so well. I've seen quite a few of the real multiple units, and just looking at this, it is a shrunk down version. You know, it's certainly not a toy train. It's a miniature model of the
it absolutely
the multiple
is.
unit.
Yeah.
You know, and they've captured some of the really tricky parts, such as the curvature on the cab there as well, which doesn't only go down like that, but it actually curves around too. They've captured that shape just absolutely spot on.
It's one of those where, you know, there is the occasional model where you look at it and it's just, you know, especially with a few old ones now where things have changed over time, you look at it and go, that's just not quite right. Yeah. With this, you look at it and it's like looking at the real thing. It's a miniature version. It's like someone's got an array gun, shot it, and it's become hand size basically. So they really are quite something.
Well, it's one way to make them, isn't it? It might not be either way, but it's one way to do it.
I mean, 30 years time, if me and you were still here, that might be the way we're producing models in the future. So who knows?
I think we've got enough videos to last until then. We'll be here for a while, yeah.
We've got a lot to do yet. There was one question that we got on social media, which I don't think's been in the chat yet, which is, are these available in N-Gauge? Now, Dapol does actually produce an N-Gauge model of this.
Yes.
Not all the same liveries have been produced so far, but there is quite a few of the quirky and interesting ones in there. You can get the Arriva Trains Wales one, the Chiltern one, obviously the BR Green, BR Blue, and all that kind of stuff. It's all available, and they're available on our website too.
The other thing to bear in mind as well, if you want to go the other way, you want to go larger into O-Gauge, they're just about to come into stock at the end of the summer in O-Gauge. And again, it's Dapol who's made the models in all three sizes. So they made the N-Gauge version, the OO and the O as well. And the first of those are about to come into stock. So again, if you're not a OO gauge modeler, but you're really liking the 121s, we can do different scales as well. So take a look on our listings. And again, if you want a bit of further information, if you're not quite sure which one to go for, send us a Facebook message, pop a comment on the video, give us a call, send us an email, and we'll be happy to help.
Marius has got an interesting idea here. He says he'd like to see a PR121 in the Formula One Red Bull livery. Now, I'm a bit of a sucker for Red Bull livery products. I mean, I do drink a lot of energy drinks, and Coke is very bad. But it looks great, that livery, on race vehicles and vans and all that kind of thing. So, you know what? I'd like to see a 121 like that as well. If you want to try it, let us know, and we'd love to see it if you have a go.
The only thing to bear in mind with these is the top speed might not quite get that far, really, with them being sort of 60, 75 miles an hour.
What if you put Red Bull in the diesel tank? That might help it along a little bit.
I'll leave you to that one after the live stream. That's one for your Friday afternoon. And not,
bit of an experiment, yeah. Yeah, one for the weekend, that I think.
And if we have any further questions regarding the chassis or the inside, or anyone wants any further details of how to get inside them, do let us know as well. We're happy to take a couple of questions. Well, happy to take as many questions as required, really, on what we've got in front of us.
Absolutely. Anything you want to know about these, let us know in the chat, or if you don't get a chance right now, or if you're watching this in the far distant future, do get in touch with us on Facebook or by email or by phone or any way you can. And
Absolutely.
Our team will help you out no matter what.
I'm trying to think of one we've not shown off yet too much. It's probably the Chiltern one, really, isn't it?
Yeah, we touched on it a little bit, and this was the final livery, shall we say, that the 121s saw. So this, I think it was from the early 2000s, about 2003, that was first painted. Yeah. And it was in that right until 2017, so there's a couple of eras hit there, sort of early privatisation right up to practically the current era. And it ran along, was it the Aylesbury branch line that was on?
Yes,
doing a little shuttle up and down.
A place called Princess Risborough, and then went down to Aylesbury, but it also operated on a couple of other parts of the Chiltern network as well. And this particular unit got the absolute works in the early 2000s. It was fitted with LED displays, proper passenger communications, so it was a Class 121 for the 21st century.
It was a 121 GTI, if you will, wasn't it?
It really was. Maybe not with the Red Bull effect we mentioned before, but getting close there. And that's pretty much why it was the last one still around. And it was quite sought after as well when they got rid of it. I think it's actually ended up at the Bodmin Railway in Cornwall now. That particular example where it's still doing that job it was built for nearly 60 years after it was built.
And the latest photos I've seen is it's still being very much looked after like it has been throughout its life.
They're really dependable units, the Class 121s, and the models are just exactly the same, really. It's life imitating art, so to speak, really. It's where the model is just as good and dependable, a reliable, solid bit of kit as the real life units.
Yeah.
And it's just good to see that replicated in a smaller scale.
Absolutely is. Railway modeler Ben, he asks, do they come with a detail bag? We did touch on that a little bit earlier. But
I will get it back out for you. Just hang on 1 second. I will get that available. Again, one thing that doesn't usually get its mention is they come in an incredibly sturdy box. They've got both foam and a plastic shell interior as well. So they really do come out and get really well packaged. I will just get that detailing bag out.
You do get quite a lot in this pack. There is really a lot.
You get the full suite of brake pipes in there as well. That is for your front buffer beams and rear buffer beams. So once all that's in, you've got your brake pipes, you've got your control pipes in there as well. You've got your speedometer cable for the side of the bogies as well. So once that's all on there, it really does look like a museum quality model.
It really does.
That complements the amount of detail that you already get on the underframes and the body as well, which is something exquisite.
And like we were saying before about these things looking like a miniaturized version of the real thing, that just adds to that effect even more.
It really, really does.
So Callum's got another question. He says, for a heritage line based in Wales with a slight bias towards the LNER, which one would you recommend, modern era? Well, I mean, the beauty of a heritage line layout is that you can get away with all kinds, because you can sort of blag a little bit that, you know, it had been painted back into that livery again on that fictional heritage line, or, you know, that they managed to procure one of the ones from mainline running. But, I mean, if you wanted a modern era one, I suppose the Chiltern one might be a good idea, because obviously that was one of the liveries that it was last seen in the modern era, and it's still in that now.
Yes.
In heritage railway operations, so that you could sort of say, oh, it came on loan from the Bodmin Railway over to your layout.
And a lot of current preserved railway owners now are painting their 121s in the more heritage liveries, such as the 1960s BR green or the 1970s and 80s BR blue and grey.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of pictures of them out and about like that.
As Jack said, it really is up to you. If you're operating a heritage railway, you can always make an excuse that they paint them whatever colour you wish, really. So if any of these have taken your fancy here, it really is down to you.
Well, it's kind of like what you were saying before about the Highland Stag one in real life. You know, even in real life, they were basically just painting them how they wanted them, even if it wasn't accurate for their area anyway. Yeah. So you can get away with a lot on a layout.
I mean, we've got almost, 10 here, and no two are the same colour, really. So, you know, there's a real spread. And as was touched on before, we haven't managed to get them all out here, and there's even more colours available. So take a look at our listings, and My recommendation would be, if there's one that really, really takes your fancy, that's the one to go for.
That's it. Ono Mulder says, great show, guys. Thanks. No worries. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching. Thanks to everyone for watching, by the way. This is our second live stream, and we are still getting to grips with this, so to speak. But it's great to have you all here, and it brings us all a little closer at the end of the day. You know, we can't quite fit thousands and thousands of people in Hattons, but it's great to feel that you are just sat on the other side of the room from us, really. So,
and we really appreciate all the thoughts and the comments and the suggestions as well. Like, it's all really useful.
We do
and
indeed. So
we hope it's been a useful video for you as well.
Yeah, it's great to have each and every one of you here.
Gary Lewis says, I believe there's a few Hornby HSTs coming in stock soon, and that could make a good live show and Q&A. Absolutely, yeah. So Hornby's bringing out the new GWR Aldo Common HST, ScotRail Inter 7 City HST livery, and there's a
London Northeastern
Railway one as well. And with the first two that I mentioned, the Mark III SD coaches should be coming later in the year as well to go with those. So you'll have the GWR and the ScotRail coaches, and the cross-country ones are also coming in. So there's a lot of great stuff coming from Hornby in the future that we're going to have to cover in a video, aren't we?
There's a lot of great stuff coming throughout 2019 from everyone, really.
Really,
I think we've got a lot more videos to go at, really, but it's a great year for new models.
I think we're going to have to do about 5 live streams a day at this rate with the amount of stuff that's coming through. SLD51 says, will you do more videos with Sam's trains? Yeah, absolutely. If Sam wants to work with us again, we're more than happy to do some more videos with Sam. Obviously, the last one we did was me and him had a good explore around the Great Central Railway model event, and we got to see all the different layouts there and check things out. So if you want to check that out, go onto our YouTube channel and have a look. But yeah, Sam's great, so we'd love to do some more videos with him.
The other great thing to check out on our YouTube channel is the model overview for the Class 121. So if you've not quite had enough of the Class 121 yet, and I mean, let's be honest, who can with these, really? We have got a really good model overview video on there, and it goes straight into depth. We've got some really high quality close-ups of things we've not quite managed to get as close to the camera as we'd like. Some of the running details there, some of the lights as we touched on before, and some of the other variations that we've not got on the table. So if you want a little bit more 121 today, as soon as the live stream's done, head over to our channel and watch that video too.
And a few people have, there's been a few questions obviously about, you know, which one's right for which layout, for which era and stuff like that. Now, if you head to the link in the description or head to our website, we've got a full article about the 121, and we've actually split it down by the different eras of operation for them. So your BR Blue era, BR Green, sectorization, privatization, everything's in there, and it's all split down so that you can know what might be the best for you. And there's links there to order yours today. Right, let's have a look at the chat. We've got Malcolm says the Arriva trains one ran primarily between Cardiff Queen Street and Cardiff Bay. That was the station name I was trying to remember. I couldn't quite remember that off the top of my head.
Thank you, Malcolm.
He also says they did run it empty stock once a week to Radia to turn the unit around and equalise the wear on the door lock. So there's a nice bit of trivia for you.
It's also a good excuse to run one outside that place as well, and that's the great opportunity with these, is even if you did work in little sort of parts of the world, you would always go somewhere further afield for maintenance or for working in another area, the transfer between the two. So you might have one passing through on its journey somewhere else, you might have one passing through on its journey to the depot, so you can always have one again without passengers. And as we touched on before, whether you're analog or digital, you do have the switches there to turn the passenger lights on and off as well. So if you want to just run one as if it's on the move, you can do. And it's a great excuse to have one if you've not got that station on your layout, or you've just got a depot. It can be on the way somewhere, or just arrive for a bit of TLC.
There's a lot of different options for operation there. Malcolm asks, what's the weight of the model? I think you guesstimated about 400, 450 grams for this, didn't you?
It's about that. For certain, it's a very hefty model, more than capable of shifting itself. And as we touched on before, they wouldn't usually be hauling a lot behind them. Maybe some of the earlier ones would have seen things like milk carrying tankers, etc. But they're more than capable of shifting themselves. And if you did want to put a couple of carriages behind them on your layout, they would work absolutely fine with that.
Callum said he's eyeing up the blue and grey Welsh Dragon one. Thanks, guys. So that'll be going on your heritage line, I guess. So we look forward to seeing that if you want to send us some photos. There's a couple more questions we had on social media this morning. Obviously, we touched on the N-gauge and O-gauge versions are also coming from Dapol, so keep an eye on our website for those. Potentially, you never know, there might even be more 001s in the future.
That's it.
There's so much more operation left for these things, and you never really know, with them being on quite a few preservation railways, which liveries they might go into next, because they could be painted up into something completely off the wall that you'd never expect. So
they've been around for 59 years and they're on the main line for 57, and the life is only just starting for these, really. There's still 12 of them around today and they show no signs of going anywhere yet.
It really is amazing that 12 out of the 16 are still left as well.
There's so much of the story still to tell.
Absolutely. Right, I think we've been talking for quite a while now. It's been nearly an hour if I look at the stream dashboard over here. So I think we might start wrapping it up, guys. So if there's any last final questions you want to get in there, put them in the comments now and we'll try our best to answer them. If we don't get a chance to answer your question or if we've missed anything, do get in touch with us on Facebook or via email or via phone call, and our team will be more than happy to answer any questions that you've got. But we've probably got a minute or so for a couple more questions if anyone wants to ask anything. And
again, if we've whetted your appetite for one of these, do check out the description. We've got them available right now to dispatch, and they're available from £89 as well.
And like I say, if you are struggling to know which one you need, we have split them down by era, so you know which one to go for. And there's really great photos on the site to see, what detail variations are on each one, what livery they carry. And obviously Dave's produced this model overview video, which you can see on a YouTube channel right now. And that's got really great shots of the running quality of it and all that kind of thing. Right. I think that's about all for us today. So I think we are going to head off. So nothing more to say than thank you very much for everyone for watching.
Thank you.
Really appreciate you all tagging along with us for an hour of bubble card discussion today. So I hope you found it useful. I hope you've enjoyed all this, and hopefully you might be able to get a lovely little 1-2-1 for your layout. So I think we will.
Yeah, and if you did enjoy it, of course, like the video and do subscribe to the channel. As soon as we do more of these, you'll get the notifications to let you know as well. And we are taking recommendations on board or suggestions for what you want to see as well. But as Jack said, thank you very much for coming along with us for the journey with the 121. It's a fantastic model. I could talk about it for many more hours yet, but I think you probably get bored of my voice after a little while.
I think everyone would have to go for a little break and get a cup of tea and a snack by the time we finish.
But it's fantastic to sort of show you the inner workings and how they come together. So hope you've enjoyed it. Hope you found it as interesting as we have to look over these iconic units. And we'll see you again soon.
Yeah, we'll see you again soon. Enjoy what we hope is a sunny Friday afternoon where you are. It certainly is here. And we'll see you again next time.
See you soon.
Bye, guys.